aides, yeah, one-to-one aides, how those are offered, it's generally said that it requires an assessment. I personally think an FBA is more useful than the kind of generic one-to-one aid assessment, but every district calls it something different. It may be a RACIA, a SCACE, a SKIA. It's all literally the same thing. They've all used the same rubric. So there's 4 areas that they look at. And generally the person who completes the assessment is the school psych, but there's really no like qualifications for completing this assessment. It's not standardized, it's strictly observation based. And then there's a rubric and it goes from 0 to 3, I believe. 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 being the highest level of need, 0 being like the lowest level. So there's health, behavior, instruction, and inclusion. And so health is obviously health. Like, does the child require medications to be administered at school, or do they have a G tube or things like that? Behavior is behavior. So looking at, is there a behavior intervention plan? Has there been an FBA? Is there a comprehensive BIP? Are there social emotional goals? Instruction is access to instruction in the classroom, and then inclusion is socialization. So those are kind of the 4 areas. And if you kind of take that, that really speaks to the 4 ways in which an aide can be offering support, more or less, or the types of aides, right? So there's obviously health aides. Like, there's going to be students who need either a nurse, that's another related service, by the way, nursing support, or an aide to support health needs, depending on the severity of those needs. Then there's aides that are specifically implemented and in place to support behavior. So they're there to kind of support the implementation of strategies written into the behavior plan, or whatever behavior strategies have been agreed upon within the IEP, and to ensure that, those things are kind of being offered when they should be throughout the day. Then there's instructional aides, or academic aides, if you will. So those are the aides that are there to more kind of help the student stay focused and on task and be redirected and attentive to instruction. They are not to teach the student. They are there just to keep the student on task so they can listen and learn from the teacher. And then there's aides to support socialization. And generally, I don't think I've ever seen an aide that's just for socialization. That's generally because there's like behavior, or even just lack of attention and struggle with focus. But they would also then, let's say like there's an academic aide. Obviously academics aren't happening on the playground, but maybe that student also requires supports with socialization. So that same aide would also stay all day, as opposed to just during instructional time, right? And also facilitate that social interaction. And aides can also be there on the bus. So they may actually have more minutes than the instructional day if they're starting, bus to school and then taking them home.